Happy New Year and welcome to a special edition of the Travel Show. It's a long, cold slog from New Year through to springtime in Britain, which is why more and more of us are coming here to the Caribbean in search of warm seas, sunshine, and of course those palm-fringed beaches. At this time of year, the weather is the #1 attraction. But another is the sheer variety of the many islands dotted around this region. So many, in fact, that even that seasoned traveller Christopher Columbus was confused when he first discovered them and wrote that he hardly knew which one to go to first.
So tonight we've compiled an essential island guide to help travellers facing the same dilemma as Columbus. Arthur Smith kicks off our insider reports to 3 very different destinations as he joins in the fun on Antigua, one of the first islands to be developed for visitors. Travel writer Simon Calder treks through what may be the Caribbean's final frontier, the tropical rainforests of Dominica. We steer a smooth passage through the dozens of Caribbean cruises on offer. And actress Amanda Redman warms to the Latin romance of Puerto Rico and its Spanish colonial past.
The island of Antigua was once an exclusive playground for the rich and famous, but over the years it's been broadening its appeal and now offers a complete range of holidays to suit every budget. So for travellers like Arthur Smith, who are new to the region, Antigua presses all the right buttons. Direct flights from the UK and a clever mix of big, all-inclusive resorts and quieter, more intimate accommodation in small hotels.
The islands known as the Caribbean stretch south of Florida from Cuba and Jamaica down to Trinidad, just 10 miles off the South American coast. Antigua lies in the eastern Caribbean and is the largest of the British Leeward Islands. Arthur landed near the capital, St. John's. He then headed south to Jolly Beach, his appropriately named base, before cycling down to English Harbour, Nelson's old stomping ground.
One of Antigua's favourite boasts is that it has 365 beaches, one for every day of the year. But Arthur was too busy exploring all its other attractions to count.
Niceness.
If you come to the Caribbean, you're quite likely to end up here. Antigua is like the Clapham Junction of the West Indies because from here you go to islands all over the place. But unlike Clapham, it's really pretty and my brother doesn't live here. Thank you very much, Charlie. It used to be that the West Indies was only for the likes of Princess Margaret or Noel Coward or some rock star here with his teenage bride. No longer. These days it's a little more democratic. It must be. I'm here and I won't be needing this for a while.
Charlie was a taxi driver in Tottenham for 30 years, but even though he's been back for 7 years, his friends still insist on the nickname of English.
Will I be able to see a lot of cricket here, Charlie?
No, more football. This is the football season.
Yeah, do you think I'm going to be brown and gorgeous?
Oh, I don't know about being gorgeous.
If you're in the Caribbean for the first time, then the chances are you'll stay at an all-inclusive resort like Club Antigua. All-inclusive hotels are popular not just with sun worshippers, but also with families, as everything comes free. Of course, you can just lie back, soak up the sun and take it easy. But if you want to be more hidey-high, there's a plethora of manic activities.
The thing about the all-inclusive holiday is that you feel obliged to eat everything, drink everything, do everything. I wonder what time the arm wrestling contest starts.
The influence of Mr. Motivator spreads far. What a funny word, aquarobics. Some people here appear to need the exercise even more than I do. I have to say, I'm not even sure what this game's called. I've come up with a solution to sad travel presenters always doing things by themselves. Find a friend with similar tastes. You are allowed out of the hotel, though. Most people go by minibus or hire a jeep, but then they can drive. This is Liberta, so called because after the abolition of slavery, it became the first free village. Well, Charlie was spot on about the local footy action.
Yeah. Oh.
And they've got a bigger crowd than Wimbledon. This is Nelson's Dockyard, in its heyday the main British naval base in the West Indies. It's named, of course, after Horatio Dockyard. Aha. Nelson, who like all 18th and 19th century boys ran away to sea, came here at 26. He called it a vile spot, but then he wasn't here on an all-inclusive holiday. The dockyard fell on hard times once various colonial navies stopped firing their cannon at each other. But now it's all been done up, and the old Copper and Lumber Store has been converted into a hotel called the Old Copper and Lumber Store. All the bedrooms here are named after Nelson's ships. This one's called the Royal Sovereign Studio. Mind you, at £170 per night for 2 people, the only thing that's all-inclusive here is the view. Antigua had a rough year in 1995 when Hurricane Louis swept over the island. These coconut trees have had it. They don't grow back once they're broken. But people here are quite used to putting right damage to buildings. Now, the sight of this telephone box made me suddenly homesick. Time to check in.
Hello, is that the London Meteorological Office? Yeah. I'm just checking. Is it cold, wet, dark and miserable there? Excellent. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to know. Bye-bye.
The island is blessed with many beautiful beaches, 365 of them in fact. This one, Darkwood, is popular with the Antiguans, and it inspired me to find my own private groovy bit of shoreline. But before then, I need to head home for some haute cuisine Caribbean style. Home is the name of a restaurant which was originally the family home of chef and owner Carl Thomas. He returned to Antigua 5 years ago to convert it into the best restaurant on the island, serving an excellent lobster crepe.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening, Carl.
Enjoying your meal?
I am indeed. Take a seat. Join me for a
Well,
moment.
I think that I will. I can. It's a little slow in the kitchen tonight. I don't mind if I join in.
What is the characteristic of Caribbean food?
Basically, everybody thinks of Caribbean food being ultra hot. Not necessarily so. It's a blend of just about every type of food that you can think about.
Antigua is well known for its yachting scene, and if a group of you hire a catamaran for the day, it's not that expensive. And you can keep your eyes peeled for your own ideal beach. Nah, not that one. Our captain, the magnificently named One Love, was watching out for my beach too.
Sir Arthur,
Yes.
this is the very good beach for you to chill out.
I'm going to chill out, One Love.
Let's get together and feel alright. Ooh. I'm happy for you.
So I've found my ideal tropical beach. Part of me thinks I'd like to stay here and raise chickens and catch fish and choose my desert island discs. But no, it's just a Caribbean dream. But until I wake up, Happy New Year.
For beginners, trying to choose the right Caribbean island is rather like facing your first artichoke. Which bits do you tuck into and which do you ignore? The skill comes in combining the right island with what you're personally looking for in a holiday. Are you the active type? Do you have young children? Do you want to dress up for dinner? Or do you want to dress down for a fortnight? As a general rule, it's worth remembering that the American islands tend to be the most efficiently run. The Spanish islands the most exotic, and the former British colonies, like this one, Barbados, the more traditional. And you'll find many reminders of home here, from Victorian houses and Austin cars to a hilly region called Scotland. Meanwhile, the French islands are without doubt the chicest. So, to help you match desires and destinations, here's the Travel Show Essential Guide to the Caribbean Islands. Of course, the really great beaches are a lot busier than they were in Robinson Crusoe's day. But if you're looking to live out your desert island fantasies, there are still plenty of exclusive and secluded spots for aspiring castaways.
In the Grenadines, Petit Saint-Vincent is a private resort island with just 22 luxury stone cottages. No phones, just hoist a flag for room service. But seclusion comes with a hefty price tag, from £200 per person per night in low season with Simply Caribbean. Or try Anguilla, Antigua's smaller sister island, with 30 miles of empty white beaches. Basic double rooms in hotels and one-bedroom departments cost from £60 a night.
After 10 hours on a plane with the family, you'll need a holiday. But kids love it here. Soft sand and warm, shallow sea, enough to keep them amused for days. Big resort hotels lay on special facilities for children, and all-inclusive hotels help parents keep a lid on costs.
Well-developed St Lucia has good family packages on offer during our school summer holidays. The total cost, all-inclusive for a family of 4 travelling with Kuoni, is around £2,200 for 1 week in mid-August. Barbados is another good bet, with budget self-catering apartments in the south and supermarkets which stock familiar brands.
Weddings are big business in the Caribbean. Most hotels will provide everything from the priest to witnesses, and even throw in a video recording of the happy event.
There's more red tape on some islands than others, but Barbados has relaxed its rules and now has no minimum stay requirements for weddings. Elegant resorts like the Coral Reef Club and the Sandy Lane Hotel offer free wedding packages including cake and licence for between £1,390 and £1,590 per person for 1 week half-board in May with Carib Tours.
Year-round charter flights to the Caribbean mean there are some great package deals around, especially out of peak season.
The Dominican Republic has more hotel rooms than any other island, and competition to fill them means prices start from as little as £629 per person for 2 weeks, all-inclusive with air tours. It's a poor country, but despite the unrest in neighbouring Haiti, it is safe to travel there and it has some very good beaches.
Head for the Caribbean and you'll be following in some fairly illustrious footsteps. From stunning supermodels to restless royals, celebrity sunseekers come here in their droves.
Mustique has all the seclusion and luxury celebrities crave. Princess Margaret and Mick Jagger, for example, both have fab pads here. And you can get closer to the stars by actually renting their villas through Caribbean Connection. For example, Les Jolies Eaux, which belongs to Princess Margaret, sleeps 12 and is available from £6,025 a week. That's £500 per person. And finally, if you want to read up on the islands before you go, try James Henderson's comprehensive Guide to the Caribbean and the Bahamas, published by Cadogan at £17.99.
Simon Calder is the truffle hunter of travel, trained to sniff out new destinations before the likes of Richard Branson get the merest whiff. And he immediately caught the scent of Dominica. Not to be confused with the Dominican Republic, Dominica is an exciting and demanding island for travellers who want to experience the Caribbean as it used to be, warts and all, before it was tamed and packaged. It's just the place for people who are bored with lolling around on beaches. Golden sand may be in short supply, but who cares when there are tropical rainforests, fabulous waterfalls and mountain peaks higher than any in Britain.
Dominica lies south of Antigua in the eastern Caribbean and is one of the Windward Islands. Simon got acclimatised in the colourful capital Roseau before exploring the rainforests around Soufrière in the south and embarking on a calf-stretching trek to the boiling lake in the Morne Trois Pitons National Park.
Trust Simon to find somewhere in the ever-popular Caribbean where you can still get away from it all.
Dawn on a Saturday in Roseau, the most crowded it ever gets in Dominica. What feels like all 70,000 islanders descend on the capital to do the weekly shop. It's greengrocery heaven, papaya, passion fruit, plantain, and no queuing at the checkout.
There's a saying in the plant kingdom that if you can't grow it in Dominica, you can't grow it anywhere. Equal dollops of sunshine, showers and fertile soil make this the fruit basket of the Caribbean. About the only cash crop the island hasn't yet harvested with a vengeance is tourism.
Some cruise ships call at Dominica, but the passengers spend only a few hours here, so they get no more than a fleeting impression. Columbus didn't even stay that long. He sailed straight past the island, pausing only to name it. Dominica means Sunday. The first colonists were the French, who brought Catholicism. And though the island soon passed to the British, the religion stuck. But Mass here is distinctly Dominican. The soulful service is presided over by Monsignor John Luis, who has strong views about the way that nature and religion are entwined on the island.
Our people are religious. In fact, our motto, our national motto is Après bon Dieu c'est la terre, meaning after God the earth. And also, of course, we've grown to respect the beauty of the mountains and the lakes and the waterfalls and so on. As you notice, there's a lot of water here, and all that adds to the lush, verdant nature of the island.
And there's a terrible power of nature as well that the islands experience.
Yes, now and then we have hurricanes, but we've learned to live with them, and they are few and far between.
So who's your ideal visitor?
I think I would have to say that anyone who appreciates nature, anyone who loves and who feels at home with what Dominica has to offer. It's a small island, and we want to preserve it for future generations.
Luckily, self-preservation is built in. It'd take more than just dollars and determination to build a road through this sort of country. Forget driving. Just bring a stout pair of walking shoes.
In Dominica, you're more likely to be trekking through deep green rainforest than sipping strange green cocktails by the pool. And since there's no rainforest without rain, don't be perturbed by the occasional sudden downpour. Though so far, the only showers I've experienced have been back at the hotel.
This wilderness retreat, Petit Colibri, perches 1,000 feet above the ocean. Loy Barnard and her family built it strictly by the Eco Book, so their guests could share the good life, with plenty of homegrown food to eat and pure rainwater to enjoy.
We feel that water is very precious, and our swimming pool is even filled with rainwater. We're all solar powered now for the cottages, and all of the wood and the stone comes from Dominica, but the trees themselves were harvested through a program with forestry. When people come in, they feel a reverence for the space because of the warmth of the wood and the stone sort of add special touch, something that's sometimes humorous, sometimes charming.
At £125 a night for a cottage sleeping 4, you can afford to bring the family. If your kids are used to travelling, they'll take to Dominica like ducklings to water.
It's great to be able to share this, thinking, gosh, we've got all this around us and not enough people to share it.
For your share of nature, take a walk on the wild side of the island, where mountains rise miraculously from the sea to almost a mile high. You'll need a guide through the treacherous terrain. My guide was the most athletic grandmother I've ever met. Meet Sonia.
Well, it's 5-mile hike up the mountain towards the highest point, Mount Nichols, is 3,000 feet. Do you think you're up to it?
Well, do you think I am?
I think so. Let's go. It gets dark in the rainforest. The trees form a canopy. It can get pretty muddy as we go along the trail, so be careful and follow me.
Not exactly crystal clear water and pure white sand.
Your feet can sink way down to your knee in certain areas.
Having plunged deep into the rainforest and stumbled through acres of stubborn mud, we scaled a 3,000-foot peak, and that was before lunch.
There's no sort of description that you can give to describe this place properly. You've got to see it. If you look on this side of the Valley of Desolation, you'll notice it looks like something out of space.
The highlight of this hot and steamy day, the bubbling crater of an ancient volcano and a glimpse into the center of the Earth.
This is about 200 feet long and about 100 feet wide, and it is the largest boiling lake in the world.
I've been hiking for 5 hours now through dense tropical rainforest, thick mud and across lunar landscapes to get here where the boiling lake is simmering nicely. Yet I'm still only 3 miles from the ocean. Now, there's one drawback with spending a week in Dominica. You might not be able to drag yourself away from the intensity of nature on the island. 7 days is just long enough to become besotted with the wild mountains, gentle people, and crystal clear waters.
The Dominican microclimate makes for more than 300 inches of rain a year. Manchester looks positively Saharan in comparison. But that's not why it sees so few tourists. It's because there are only enough beds to accommodate 700 visitors at any one time, mostly in small hotels and family-run guest houses. If you're visiting other islands and still prefer to stay somewhere more casual or intimate than the big resort hotels, there are plenty of options available throughout the Caribbean.
The eco-friendly Petit Colibri is part of the Caribbeans group of small, distinctive hotels on 9 islands in the Eastern Caribbean. Thomas Cook Holidays offers 1-week packages from £600, including flights and room only. Do what you want when you want by renting a villa. Specialists include International Chapters, which has a comprehensive range on 17 different islands. A Coralstone family villa for 6 on Barbados with a shared pool costs under £300 per person a week from May to November, including a cook and maid, but no flights. Keep the costs of a self-catering holiday down by picking an island where food and drink don't cost the earth. On St Lucia, half a pint of beer sets you back £1.25, compared to just 60 pence on Antigua. But at around £25 a head for dinner with wine, St Lucia works out cheaper than the French islands like St Bart's, where it'll probably cost over £40.
Cruises offer a great way of packing several islands into one trip without having to pack and unpack your luggage at every stop. The disadvantage is that some of the very expensive cruise holidays being sold in the UK are actually offered to North Americans for very much less because they don't have the added cost of transatlantic flights. So your notion of 5-star luxury could be someone else's idea of a holiday camp. That said, you don't have to be a millionaire these days to afford a fortnight afloat. Cruising is one of the biggest growth areas in the travel market, and the arrival of package operators has seen prices drop considerably. There are now literally dozens of island hopping options available. So we asked some dedicated cruisers why they do it.
Se fue. ¿A dónde? Para la luna. ¡Llévatelo! ¡Buen viaje!
I love cruising in the Caribbean because you visit a different port every day. It can be French one day, it can be Dutch the next, and then it can be American, and you see all the different cultures and the way they live.
I'm a single cruiser. This is my full single cruise, and I don't find that a problem. You meet people at the dining table, meet them in the gym, whatever's going on, bingo twice a day. I don't play bingo, but lots of people do. And I wouldn't have come on a Forth cruise on my own if I didn't enjoy meeting all those people.
Cruises are often pitched at different types of customers. The biggest operator, Carnival, caters particularly for the young at heart. Celebrity cruises and air tours are good for families, and Disney is launching 2 children-friendly megaships next January. Single passengers can get clobbered with hefty supplements or stuck in small, cramped cabins. Operators like Fred Olsen and P&O help by matching you up with a passenger of the same sex with whom you can share a cabin.
This is our first cruise. It's something we've always wanted to do, and we found a fantastic all-inclusive package.
Had 7 days on an island and 7 days cruising. Absolutely wonderful. Recommend it to anyone.
Cruises are more affordable than ever before. For example, Carnival Cruise Lines has a 7-night all-inclusive cruise which visits islands like St Thomas, Dominica and Martinique from £799. That's for everything from return flights to tips. For first-timers, stay cruise packages which combine a week afloat with a week in a hotel are a good option. Air Tours has a 2-week trip for £769. You stay in Barbados for a week and cruise to 5 islands, including St Lucia and Margarita. The most comprehensive guide we've found to cruising is called, well, Cruising. It's written by Douglas Ward and published by Berlitz at £14.95.
Puerto Rico is a hybrid where 20th century America meets 17th century Spain. 400 years of Spanish rule, followed by a century as part of the Commonwealth of America, means that ultra-modern facilities, condos and high-rise hotels exist alongside colonial architecture, salsa music and Latin style. Someone once described it as being like Cuba, only the plumbing works. In other words, it has all the exotic colour and excitement of the Caribbean, the flavour of Spain and valet parking. Actress Amanda Redman, a long-time lover of all things Spanish, had no difficulty in plotting her own rather romantic route around the island.
Puerto Rico lies in the northern Caribbean and is one of the Greater Antilles, the island chain closest to the United States. Amanda flew direct to San Juan, the capital, before driving inland to Jayuya. She finished her tour in Ponce, the cultural and literary heart of the island.
Amanda's tour began in the heart of the capital's Spanish Old Town.
Do not adjust your sets, this really is the Caribbean. It may look and feel like old Spain with its boulevards, Moorish sea defences and Castilian balconies, but Europe is thousands of miles away. San Juan is Puerto Rico's capital city and the unofficial capital of the Caribbean. The Spanish arrived here nearly 500 years ago and everything has a Latin touch.
Old San Juan is regularly invaded by day trippers from the many cruise ships that visit this island. But the city has a lot more booty to offer than just a few snatched photographs and a souvenir bottle of rum. That being said, rum is a very big thing here. And it was in this city that they invented the pina colada. Now, you can get those all over the island, but there is one bar that sells unique cocktails.
It's called La Nota in Spanish, which means the high. And I put the name Prozac on it because it's a nice mellow drink.
Yes, okay.
After a couple of it. Would you like to see how it's made?
Yes, please.
Oh,
yes,
sure.
please. Thanks.
Glass of ice,
Yeah.
some vodka, gin, 151.
It's 151 the rum.
Yes. And what smooths it out is the undiluted orange concentrate.
Oh, it's orange concentrate. Ah,
Yeah.
I see.
Grenadine. Then mix. And that's it.
Oh, wow. Terry, that is beautiful.
It is. You enjoy
It's
it,
so
huh?
smooth, too.
Yes.
It's delicious. Well, here's to you.
Salud.
It's fantastic. Salud.
Enjoy.
Oh.
Some people, though, really shouldn't drink at lunchtime. With that high-octane fuel inside me, I was ready to do what everyone in Latin America does. Sit down a while and watch the world swim by. Many Puerto Ricans speak English, and they're really welcoming to visitors, if not to pigeons. It's always the boys, isn't it? Artists have a knack of seeking out the coolest and cheapest places to stay, like this one, a hotel called La Galleria, hidden away in a side street without so much as a name above the door. Popular with painters, musicians and sculptors, it has only 16 bedrooms, but each one is a tiny tribute to Latin Romanticism. Sit still long enough and you'll probably find yourself captured in oils or clay.
Where did the idea evolve from?
In the old days, when someone wished to have their portrait done, they would move in with the artist, or the artist would move in with them and stay a few days till the work was finished. And it's kind of the same thing that we do here. So I decided, why don't I make a wonderful place that people wishing their works of art done, and they can come and stay with me.
The cheapest rooms are called the artist's bedrooms. They start at around £65 a night and are aimed at travellers on a budget. Who knows? You may even feel inspired.
We interrupt this broadcast with a freak weather warning. There is a tropical depression lying over the whole of the Caribbean, and there may be some scattered showers. More news to follow.
Still, a tropical rainstorm wasn't going to put me off. Puerto Rico does have golden sandy beaches, but it's also an island of vast forest parks, so I'm taking to the hills. To miss out on Puerto Rico's interior would be to miss out on its soul. This is coffee country. And years ago, this hacienda was the nerve center of a plantation. Today, the Hacienda Grapinas is one of Puerto Rico's government-endorsed guest houses or paradors. There are 18 in total on the island. At £40 a night, the rooms are plain and simple. But the setting, well, it's priceless. They do a special deal for honeymooners here, and you can quite easily imagine yourself sipping cocktails in the lounge, rocking on the balcony, and doing all those other sweet things that honeymooners do. But be warned, because the walls are very thin. And if the passion gets too much, you can always cool off in the pool and meditate upon the circle of life. And the 101 uses rainwater can be put to. Across the Sierra de Calle, the ribbon of mountains which splits the island in two, is Ponce. It's Puerto Rico's second city, and it feels like an architectural theme park with examples of every style.
Neoclassical. Neoclassical with a touch of wedding cake. Neoclassical ecclesiastical. Moorish with a touch of shopping mall. Spanish revival. And, unique. This is the Parque de Bombas, built in 1883. It's the fire station. As they say around here, Ponce is Ponce.
Not all of Ponce's art is out on the streets. Some of its finest is here in the museum. Elsewhere in the city, all the romance and flamboyance is on the outside. Here, within these cool white walls, is probably the best collection of paintings anywhere in the Caribbean, with one or two surprises. For me, the star attraction was an extraordinary room full of Pre-Raphaelite paintings. It's amazing to think that you can come all this way from home
and find this extraordinary collection of English Pre-Raphaelite paintings, like this one here, Flaming June, which I think is beautiful.
Wandering through the galleries, you could easily be in the Prado or the Louvre. But then, the distant sound of friendly drums reminds you that this can only be Puerto Rico.
Jamaica has reggae, Trinidad has calypso, and Puerto Rico has this, plena and bomba. According to the textbooks, it's based on a kind of 4-line stanza in a call and response pattern. But actually, most people just let their feet do the talking, like I do.
Every night on this unpredictable island, there's a party going on. This one's a dress rehearsal for the carnival proper in February. Not that they really need any excuse. So what do you reckon? Have you got the stamina for Puerto Rico?
Peak season in the Caribbean runs from December to April. Travel outside that period and you can reduce the cost of your trip by up to half.
For example, Hayes and Jarvis has 2 weeks self-catering in an apartment, sleeping 4 on St Kitts, costing up to £1,344 per person in high season. But the price drops to £636 from May to early July, including flights from London. For independent travellers, British Airways offers the most comprehensive scheduled service to the Caribbean, with return flights from London to Antigua and Barbados from £762 and to Puerto Rico from £564. Britannia and Caledonian offer the largest range of charter flights to popular islands like St Lucia and Antigua, and there are some good bargains around for this month. Thomson has return charter flights in January with Britannia from Manchester to Barbados from £269. And Flight Connections has selected scheduled flights from London with British West Indian Airways for £490.
I hope we've helped you decide which Caribbean island will best fulfill your personal tropical island fantasy, whether you're planning on actually going or content just to dream. And if you'd like more details about any of the destinations we've covered, why not get a copy of our indispensable guide to the Caribbean? Just send a large self-addressed envelope with a stamp to
The Travel Show, P.O. Box 191, Stockport, SK2 6PN. Please enclose a cheque or postal order for £1 made payable to the BBC. Or you can check CFAX page 617.
That's all for this Caribbean special, but we'll be back in the spring with a new series of The Travel Show. And in the meantime, we'll be bringing you more essential guides to planning the perfect escape. So watch out for those. See you soon. Bye-bye.